how are you? So today I am doing my full coverage foundation routine, and I'm excited to share this with you guys because I mentioned that my skin scars very easily and I'm able to cover it up using just a few products from the drugstore. So I've gotten a lot of requests to do this video, and I was a little hesitant at first because obviously I'm only human and I'm a little bit self-conscious, but I thought if this could help at least some of you guys that I should definitely do it and show you guys that you can cover up that scarring easily. I'm not saying that you have to do this, and I'm not saying that if you don't do this that you're not pretty or you're not beautiful, because I think that, you know, even without makeup, everyone is perfect and beautiful how they are. I just think makeup is a fun way, you know, to change up your look, give you a little bit more self-confidence, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I like to do this because I like to cover up my scarring. It just makes me feel, you know, a little bit more self-confident, because when people see me, I want them to look at me, not at, you know, the scarring on my face or something like that. So I hope this can help some of you guys, and if you have any questions, then just let me know. Okay, so here I am with no makeup on. I have my eye makeup done because I do my eye makeup first just to prevent fallout after I do my foundation. My skin has a lot of scarring, as you can tell. I don't have any active breakouts really, maybe like here and here, but other than that, it's all scarred. Every time I get a breakout, my skin leaves a scar. That's just how it is. And I also have this really big freckle on my nose right here that I got when I was really young, and I got sunburned super bad, but I like to cover that up too because it's right in the middle of my face, and I want people to focus on me, not just my flaws. So I am going to show you guys how I cover them up. So I will just grab a headband. So I'm going to start with my Hard Candy Glamoflauge Heavy Duty Concealer in the color Light, and I use this every single day. I get a lot of questions on how I use it because when I first got it, it was a little bit difficult to use first too, but I just take it and squeeze a little bit out, not a lot, just like a tiny bit, like literally that much, so it covers my finger, and I just put it on the spot that I want to cover up, and I just go like this. You just dab it on there lightly, and there you go. So that spot's covered up. Now it looks like it's not blended in, and you're going to get that look all over your whole face depending on how many imperfections you have that you want to cover up, but I just do it and I just put it all over my whole face like this. And now it looks thick because it is a thicker concealer, but the nice part about this is it hides under foundation. So once you put your foundation on, you're not going to be able to see this, and it doesn't look cakey. It literally just works to cover up the blemish really well. You can use this on active breakouts. I think it works really well. I know some concealers seem to enhance the breakout rather than disguise it, but this concealer is really creamy. It goes over it really nicely, and it helps to hide it, but I think that it really just helps to hide my scarring really well. Now the problem is when you look at my face when I have this concealer on, you're probably thinking that's gonna look really cakey, and it just looks like a lot of makeup, and a lot of people don't like to look like they're wearing a lot of makeup, and especially during the summer, I don't want to look like that either. But you'll see once I put on the foundation how well it blends out. The trick to this concealer is just using a tiny, tiny little bit, like that much on your finger, and then you're just going to pat it into the spot. And like I said, don't worry about blending it all out. There can be some harsh lines because the nice thing about this concealer is it's light. You can't even feel it on your skin. It's just very light, even though it comes out very thick. That's the point of it. It covers your blemishes really, really well. My skin is a little bit red right around my brows, so I actually just kind of smooth this on right over the top of my brows. So this is what I mean when I say you can use it over the redness. So that is what I look like after I put on the concealer, and I know that it looks just kind of ridiculous and a little heavy, but as we put on the foundation, you're going to see that you won't even be able to notice it. So I have been using the Revlon Nearly Naked foundation for the past couple of months, and I especially love this foundation during the summer because it's super lightweight, but it's still really heavy coverage. I don't know if I would call it heavy coverage, but it's medium coverage. It's good enough coverage to cover all of this. So, and the nice thing about this is it has SPF 20, which is why I originally started using it, because it's just great for the summer. You can have that extra coverage from the sun. So I use the color 130 Shell and the color 150 Nude, and I just mix them to get the foundation color that I want for my skin. I end up with something like that, which is just both of the foundations on my hand, and then I just mix them together with my finger. I'm using the Sedona Lace FB07 brush, which is just a great stippling brush. I love this. I feel like it just helps give me the best coverage possible, and I just dip it in a little bit. I honestly put the smallest amount on the brush, so I just kind of start in the middle of my face and then work my way out. Usually the center of my face doesn't need as much coverage as like where I have acne scarring on the outer half of my face, so I don't put that much foundation right here. So as you can see, this foundation is light coverage for those areas that you want, and then it is full coverage for those areas that you want as well. So I'm going to show you how I cover up all of this concealer. I hope you can see, and I hope it's not washing my skin out too much. But anyway, I use a stippling motion. I don't buff it into my skin because it's going to erase all of that work you did with the concealer. If you buff it, it's just going to kind of buff the concealer away. So just carefully stipple it onto your skin very, very lightly. Try not to press too hard, and don't use a dragging motion. Just go back with a little bit, just add a tiny bit to your brush, and just go over the area that you really want to cover. I like to go over like the problem areas a couple of times. I usually just go in the spots that don't need it, and sometimes I'll buff it in right around my jawline where I don't have any scarring, just to make it look a little bit more natural. But don't be afraid to kind of stipple on a few layers where you need it, because you're not going to notice it. It blends really nicely because this foundation is lightweight and it's just a really great formula. So then I just move on over to my other cheek and do the same thing. So even if you have spots of your face that don't need the coverage, just kind of go over them lightly and make sure that the color of the foundation is on them. So as you guys saw before, I had a lot of scarring right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this foundation and stipple a little bit more than I would on the rest of my face right in that spot. I don't really have a lot of problems with scarring on my forehead, so a lot of times I buff it in right here just to make sure that there's no like harsh line right at my hairline. But again, if you have scarring up here and you put concealer, I would just recommend stippling it carefully onto the concealer. Right? And so then what I do next is put on my concealer. Right now I'm using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer just because it's what I have, and I'm not like fully committed to this concealer or anything, but I think it's a nice brightening concealer. Since my skin is light, I don't really get that brightening effect like some people do. But I just place this under my eyes and right where I have the occasional redness. Then I just pat it in and lightly rub it because you don't want to create any wrinkles. Next, I use my Maybelline Dream Matte Powder, and I use the color Medium Sand. I've been using this for years. I usually use this same one no matter what color my foundation is, just because it's really light and it doesn't really make your skin lighter. Although my skin's kind of light. If you have darker skin, you might want to go for a darker color, but I just lightly brush this all over. My skin's oily, so I like to just make sure that all of my foundation is in place. Okay, so you might have noticed I didn't cover this freckle the same way. This is really dark. It's kind of a lot darker than any of my pigmentation, so I feel like I need to do something a little bit extra. So if you have really dark spots or you have something on your face you just want to cover up, I would recommend taking, after you do all of that, take another foundation. I use the Maybelline SuperStay 24 Hour in the color Sand Beige, and I just get the tiniest bit of foundation, again, like just like I was doing with the concealer, probably even less, onto my finger. And then I just place this on the spot that I want to cover. And again, it looks really obvious, but I just let it kind of dry for a second. So I'm going to go finish the rest of my makeup, my bronzer, blush, eyebrows, and then I will be back in a second to finish this. Okay, so I finished the rest of my makeup. If you want to see a tutorial on my eyebrows, I will link that down below. But anyways, so I come back to this part. I use this blue CoverGirl compact, and this is the Fresh Complexion Pocket Powder, and mine is broken all over the place because I dropped it, but I just get a little bit on the sponge, and then I just go over that lightly like this, and then just blend it like this. And I'm good to go. So why this powder works better than a typical setting powder is because it's a lot, it's a lot more full coverage than your typical setting powder, but I don't like to use it all over my face because then I get a cakey look. But if you're looking to cover up like a problem area, I'll even go back in with that foundation and put it like here if I need to, here if I need to, wherever I need to, and then cover it with that. It just helps to smooth out the liquid so there's no harsh lines, and then just kind of give you a little bit of extra coverage. So this is what my face looks like like after all of that. And as you can tell, it does a pretty great job at covering up all of my scars and pigmentation. So I really like it because it's great for summer. It's lightweight, you don't feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup, it doesn't look cakey, and it's all drugstore. So it's super inexpensive, super accessible. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you. But I hope that this can help at least some of you guys out there who are having trouble covering up your hyperpigmentation and things like that. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any requests, leave them in the comments below. Bye!